All right, so if you're a landlord in the London borough of Hounslow, you've probably been hearing a ton of chatter about new HMO licensing rules. It's causing a ton of confusion, right? Especially if you're running to a family. Do three brothers living in a two-bed flat all of a sudden mean you need an expensive HMO license? Let's dive in and clear this all up. So here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 simple parts. First, we'll look at what the new rules actually are. Then we'll get into the most important rule of all, the single household exemption. After that, we'll see how it all works in the real world, cover the super important topic of overcrowding, and finally, give you the straightforward answer you're looking for. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, Hounslow's new HMO rules. These are the changes that are causing all the headaches, so let's get the timeline straight right away. You've got 2 key dates to circle on your calendar. First up, December 11th, 2025. That's when Hounslow's new, much tougher, additional licensing scheme starts. It's designed to cover a lot more properties than the old rules did. Then, around May 2026, the big one, the Renters' Rights Act, is expected to be fully rolled out, and that's going to change things even more. So you can see why getting a handle on this now is absolutely crucial. Moving on to Section 2, the single household exemption. Now listen up, because this is the absolute key to this entire puzzle. If you can wrap your head around this one concept, honestly, everything else just falls into place. It simplifies the whole thing. The secret is in the legal definition of a single household. Under the Housing Act, it isn't just mom, dad, and the kids. The definition is actually incredibly broad and covers a whole bunch of relatives all living under the same roof. So who exactly are we talking about? Well, yeah, parents and children, of course, but it also includes grandparents, brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, and even cousins. So think about that for a second. If you're renting your property to, say, 2 brothers and their cousin, in the eyes of the law, they are not 3 different tenants. They are one single household. All right, so now that we know what a single household actually is, let's apply that idea directly to Hounslow's licensing rules and see exactly how it works. This is where it all clicks. This table lays it all out perfectly. Hounslow has its 2 main licensing schemes, mandatory and the new additional one. But look closely at that last column. It doesn't matter if it's 3 people or 5 people. Both schemes only get triggered if the property is occupied by people from 2 or more households. And there it is. That's the crucial point. If your tenants are all related, whether they're brothers, cousins, or an aunt and her nephews, they legally count as one single household. And if they're only one household, they simply don't meet that 2 or more households test. The rule isn't triggered. It's really as simple as that. I love this analogy because it makes it so easy to understand. Think about going to a restaurant. A family of 3 brothers, that's one group, one party, one booking. The HMO rules are meant for a totally different situation. It's for when you have 3 complete strangers, 3 separate parties, who are basically forced to share the same table just because they live in the same house. It's a great way to remember the difference. Okay, so you're probably breathing a big sigh of relief right now, thinking, great, I don't need a license. But hold on, don't get too comfortable just yet. There is one more critical check you absolutely have to make. Let me be crystal clear here. Being exempt from HMO licensing does not mean you can ignore the national laws on overcrowding. They are 2 completely separate things. As a landlord, you always have a legal responsibility to make sure your property is safe and has enough space for everyone living in it. So, what does enough space actually mean? Well, the law gives us hard numbers. For any bedroom that's going to be shared by 2 adults, like 2 of the brothers in our example, that room must be at least 10.22 square meters. And for a bedroom meant for just one person, maybe the 3rd brother or the cousin gets their own room, the minimum size is 6.51 square meters. These are not just guidelines, okay? They are the legal minimums, and you have to stick to them. And that brings us to the final section, your final answer. We've gone through the new rules, the critical single household exemption, and the separate overcrowding standards. So let's put it all together and answer that big question we started with. So, do you need an HMO license for your family tenants in Hounslow? The answer is, you are very likely exempt. Because your family tenants are considered a single household, they just don't trigger that 2 or more households requirement. That is the foundation of both the mandatory and the new additional HMO licensing schemes. And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you understand the crucial difference between being exempt from licensing because your tenants are family and the separate rules on overcrowding that apply to everyone, what's your first move?
Are you going to go double-check your tenancy agreement to confirm that family relationship? Or are you grabbing a tape measure to make sure your room sizes are legally compliant?